It's 2013 inside Google's legendary People Operations office. Laszlo Bock, former SVP, sits across from a recruiter reviewing 1.5 million job applications, a tidal wave of resumes, each a puzzle piece. But here's the kicker. Google doesn't chase everyone. They hunt for people smarter than themselves and crack open what really drives top talent. What if hiring the right person isn't about gut feelings but science? And what if managers aren't the bosses we think they are? This story flips your whole workplace upside down, and the first lesson is already waiting just past these lines. Most hiring managers want loyal yes men, Google. They want the loudest brain in the room, even if it's louder than theirs. Why? Because brilliance breeds brilliance. Here's a classic example. Jonathan Rosenberg, Google's former SVP of products, once called a candidate who challenged every assumption in the interview. Most companies would shy away, but Jonathan loved it. It meant he found a mind sharper than his own. That person ended up leading multiple products that now billions use daily. Yet the bigger story is the lesson Jonathan took home. Never fear the smartest person on the team. It's the secret sauce that scales innovation. Think of your team like a jazz band. If everyone plays the same notes or just follows the bandleader's tune, you get an echo chamber. But when you hire people smarter than you get improvisation, unexpected riffs that make the music unforgettable. Hiring smarter people creates a cycle of constant learning. Everyone grows faster, pushes further, and the melody of innovation never stops evolving. This principle turned Google from a startup with clever engineers to a powerhouse known for constant reinvention. When you surround yourself with people sharper than yourself, you're not losing control, you're gaining horsepower. It's the difference between managing people and leading a thriving ecosystem. Suddenly, the company isn't just a workplace. It's a learning machine turning raw talent into world-changing breakthroughs. Your gut can betray you, especially when hiring. Google learned fast that snap judgments hide biases and miss hidden potential. They transformed intuition from enemy to asset with a secret weapon: data. Google's People Operations team ran Project Oxygen to crack what made great managers great. They analyzed thousands of performance reviews, surveys, and feedback. The punchline: many traits managers swore by, charisma, decisiveness, weren't predictive of success. Instead, behaviors like coaching, empowering teams, and being results-driven mattered most. This blew away decades of gut-based leadership dogma and rewrote the rulebook on what really moves teams forward. Imagine trying to build a spaceship using only your gut feeling about gravity. You're doomed. But if you decode gravity's laws into formulas, that gut feeling turns into rocket science. That's what Google did with management qualities they previously only felt. They measured and quantified traits, turning vague instincts into hard data and science, making hiring and coaching laser-targeted. The payoff: fewer costly hiring mistakes, higher employee retention, and a culture where managers got better every day. That instinct you trust. It's better to test it against crystal-clear data, because your gut is a cocktail of prejudices, fears, and past experiences, not facts. Google's example proves that turning off the autopilot and trusting data can change your company's trajectory overnight. Managers aren't kings, they're guides. Google found traditional bossy managers kill motivation and kill ideas. So they reinvented what it means to lead, giving power back to employees. At Google, managers once held all the cards: performance reviews, raises, the word on promotions. But People Operations noticed this bred fear and silence, not innovation. So Google systematically leveled the playing field: peer feedback, self-ratings, even raising compensation transparency. Suddenly, power wasn't a weapon, it was a shared resource, unlocking trust and bringing employees into the decision loop like never before. Think of managers like gardeners, not kings. Instead of issuing commands, they nurture growth, pull weeds of distraction, and provide sunlight in the form of resources and encouragement. When managers switched from controlling humans to coaching talent, teams felt safer to experiment and fail, sparking creativity and resilience that no top-down order could match. The result: a culture where employees feel ownership, speak up without hesitation, and bring wild ideas to life. You don't just motivate by demanding work, you light a fire by sharing control. Google found happy workers aren't just productive, they're unstoppable. When you unwrap power from bosses and hand it to workers, it's not chaos, it's innovation unleashed. What if your worst employees taught you as much as your best? Google flipped the script by mining every performance tier, and their findings were astonishing. Google's people analytics team didn't just celebrate their A-plus players. They dug deep into the bottom performers too. For example, one project mapped why certain employees struggled with micromanagement, inflexible roles, or vague goals. They found these struggles weren't just individual failures. They revealed hidden organizational friction points ready for fix, proof that your worst performers surface your toughest problems. Picture a firefighter learning from past fire disasters to improve future response times. Embracing error isn't punishment, it's an investment in foresight. When Google encouraged employees to openly dissect failures, it layered their culture with psychological safety. People stopped fearing mistakes and started treating them like treasure maps pointing to improvement. This openness transformed workplaces into dynamic labs of learning. Continuous feedback loops from highs and lows shaped training, policies, and leadership evolution. Google didn't just react, they anticipated failure patterns and neutralized them, turning once hidden hazards into stepping stones. This isn't just smart, it's survival strategy in today's turbulent markets. Work isn't just a paycheck, it's life's biggest chunk of time. Laszlo's radical claim, "We should love it or why do it?" Here's how Google made that happen. Google famously gave engineers 20% time to experiment with their own ideas. This simple act sparked Gmail, AdSense, and countless innovations. Employees were no longer cogs, they were inventors. The freedom to pursue passion projects showed that when work feels like play, innovation explodes. Yet this wasn't chaos. It was structure meeting freedom in perfect harmony. Imagine a jazz soloist given a chart with clear rhythms but freedom to riff. Google designed roles with enough structure to align priorities, yet enough creative space for individual genius. This balance turned dull jobs into thriving challenges, where people showed up energized, not exhausted, mixing reliability with invention daily. The payoff: employees showed up happier and stayed longer. Productivity soared. The office became a place where joy fueled success and success fueled joy. When you design work people love, you don't just get employees. You get lifelong creators committed to changing the world one project at a time. Remember that flood of applications Laszlo faced at Google. It wasn't just numbers. It was a goldmine waiting to be mined differently. When you hire smarter people, reject gut bias for data, hand power to employees, learn from every failure, and design work people love, you don't just run a company. You build a living organism that grows, adapts, and thrives. Try this. Next time you hire or lead, ask yourself, am I creating freedom or just control? The future of work isn't command and control. It's trust, curiosity, and room to breathe. Subscribe for more book summaries like this one.